Hi, I'm Tim from the Heresy Group. This is my Tokyo Marui Scar L. I've been running this gun for nearly 3 years. I've run it in every condition imaginable, -8 at the trees with snow and rain, all the way through to the hottest day of the year at Copel Down, running some serious door banging in CQB. It's been thrown around in vehicles, it's been thrown around on the pit bike, it's been laid on, it's been thrown through rat holes. This gun has been used and abused and always performed absolutely impeccable. Every time I've gone to pick it up, it's worked, it's incredibly accurate, it cycles really well, the trigger's nice and responsive, and it's incredible on battery life. So why upgrade? Why make the change? Why spend the money on doing the upgrades? Now, as I say, I've been using it for the last 3 years, and I did want to check in with the incredible guys over at CamoRaids, Miguel and Merrick, just to say, look, open it up, check it out, see if anything's worn, see if things are beginning to wear, and if they have, I really want the parts replaced with parts from the guys over at Ternisoft Air. If you haven't checked out the parts for Tokyo Maruis by Ternisoft Air, there is a video back on the channel. They are absolutely incredible. I got hands on with a load of their next gen recoil parts earlier in the year and was blown away by the quality. So what I wanted to do is, if there was anything that needed upgrading, I wanted to replace it with a performance part. Also, moving on, one of the biggest, most prominent, probably the most highly recommended upgrades to this platform is the Gate Titan Mosfet. That thing is absolutely insane. Richie's done loads of videos on it. I know a lot of guys running them. It allows you the ability to set trigger sensitivity, completely reconfigure your fire switch, do things like 30 round stop. It will monitor your bolt lock. It will also run full diagnostics for any issues with the platform. It allows you to monitor your LiPo batteries and have things like LiPo alarms set for low voltage. It allows you to customize the break point on your trigger. It allows you to customize so much as a platform. And it also does one thing for me, which I just find just such a difference when you're firing a gun that has one of those Mosfets and one of them that has the original dolly type trigger contacts. You get such a smooth break on the trigger. That's really hard to show in a video, but I will put in some footage now of me firing the gun, and I'm just gently tapping that trigger, and I've got it set to about a 33% break. So after 33% of the brakes, nearly 1/3, that's when the trigger fires. You can set it so it's a 5% break, you could set it so it's like a 70 or 80% break, but around the 30% for me is a little bit of squash, and then the trigger breaks. As you can see that in the video. That for me is a huge upgrade. Now, when I was speaking to the guys and for their recommendation over at CamoRaids, a little bit of a word about those guys. I take their knowledge, their expertise very seriously. The guys at CamoRaids know these platforms inside and out. I've been shopping with CamoRaids since buying my first Tokyo Marui, and I will never ever shop with anyone else. Those guys are absolute experts on the platform, and just for complete transparency, I've paid for all of my guns and all of my upgrades. This isn't free, this isn't marketing, I've bought my products from them. Now, why shop with them, why do that? Because their customer service, their level of expertise is second to none. I've never had such good customer service, and if you don't believe me, you can go back and check out my earlier videos on the platforms, on the guns that I've purchased, and the message is consistent. I also now know of a lot of our viewers, a lot of our followers that have done and been shopping with CamoRaids and come back with exactly the same experience, which for me is so important. They treat everyone with so much respect and so much professionalism. So I really do take what they say very seriously. And they said to me, you need to consider what you want to do with the platform in regards of upgrades, and you need to look at the experiences you've had. So one of the experiences that I spoke to those guys about was when I got my 416 Dev Grew. It needed a service, I sent it away, I got it back, they put in a new hopper and barrel in it, and I noticed maybe a 2% difference on the platform, if that. I think realistically, if someone had handed me my Dev with the new barrel and bucking in and handed me an original one, it would have been very hard for me to tell the difference between the two. So making big changes to the platform is, that's the only way you're going to notice changes is if you make big changes to the platform. So after talking with them, I said, look, what would you recommend? They said, look, all the parts in there have had some wear on them, they've worn. We recommend, a complete build for you. So I said, okay, let's do it. Let's go for full, brand new parts, a complete build by you guys. Then that means everything going into this gun is going to be new. So let's talk about what they did to this platform. Firstly, they polish and deburr the entire gearbox. So the entire gearbox internally is completely polished, all the rails, everything. And that will smoothen out any places where there is friction. So as your piston moves, as the cylinder moves, as spring guide, all of those areas where it makes contact with other components is completely polished. They also polish and deburr the complete recoil system. Now, one of the things about this, it gives you a very snappy, very punchy recoil, and you can hear that in some of the videos from gameplay that I've seen recently, and I thought, whose gun is that? That sounds very, very different from what I've heard from the Tokyo Marui platforms before, and it is purely because all of that is polished, and I've got a slightly heavier recoil spring in, so you get very sharp, very snappy recoil. I'm going to put some footage in now from the trigger footage, and now just listen out for that real sharp note of the recoil. So they completely polish and clean, deburr all of the components where there's friction inside the gearbox. Now that makes a big difference. Then inside there, I've got a new Action Army 3500 motor. I've got a helicoil gear set. So I've got a helicoil pinion gear that is on that motor, and then also a gear set internally. I've got the full parts from Ternisoft Air. Everything in here has been replaced. So I'm just going to put a picture in now of what this gearbox looks like. As you can see, completely replaced everything, and you can see the gate tighten sat in there as well. Then moving up towards the front, I've got an EdGI tight bore barrel, and I've also got an R-hop in this gun. Now the R-hop is still bedding in and takes a little bit of time to get used to. It has a very different trajectory than anything else that I've been used to firing. But one thing I have noticed from this gun is very, very good accuracy at distance. So the BB's flight is very, very flat. We are going to be doing a range day video on a few of the new platforms that me and Richie have got, and we will be able to show that in a little bit more detail with different camera setups, but it just fires incredibly well. So everything inside this has pretty much been changed, and a full list of all of the customization components will be listed in the description below. Is it worth it? Is it worth spending that money to upgrade your gun? And it really does depend on the platform that you use and what you want from it. I have been absolutely against modifying this platform for 3 years, with every single one of the people around me going for full upgrade builds, including Richie, obviously, a very big part of this channel. Every single gun of his is completely pimped to the maximum, and I've stuck with mine standard. Was it worth changing is the key question that I've been asked by everyone. My answer, absolutely yes. If someone had handed me this gun maybe a year and a half ago, let me fire my original and then fire this, I would have been urged, pushed, forced to upgrade much sooner. Now, there is definitely some things with the platform that stay the same. It still recoils, the bolt still works, it still shoots well, it's still reliable. But what's changed with those upgrades is the feel of the gun completely. It's more rangy. I've put 3.2s in here. I've been running 2.5s. With 3.2s, you get this beautiful trajectory. You get a lot more punch down at the end of the target. Your capability to run your finger onto the trigger and be so much more prominent with that trigger because of the fact you've got the Mosfet. You're not waiting for that dolly system to connect anymore. You're literally sending a very small electrical pulse through to the motor, so you can essentially spam that trigger as quick as you can. It means that the gun feels so much more responsive. With the new motor that's in there, with the way that the gears work, the gun feels so snappy. It's so hard to explain without you physically knowing what that feeling feels like when you go from a really sluggish AEG to one of your friends' real pimped up Tokyo Maruis. That snap of the trigger, that snapping cycle, just allows you to put down more rounds, more consistency, and be able to snap onto target and get a round out of the gun so much quicker. The recoil from this platform is also so much more prominent. It's just so much more punchy, whereas before it would almost feel like a bit of a sluggish kick, you know, with the gun coming back slow. Now when you hit that trigger, the second that the round has exited the gun, you get a very sharp snap. It's a much quicker movement from the gun, and that makes it feel more realistic, more fun, you know, to shoot. It really does bring this gun alive. Now, yes, the gun is incredible standard, but if you are looking to take your platform to the next step, I highly recommend a complete build. If you're not going to go for the complete build, I definitely wouldn't, you know, send your gun away and just get a few small components changed. I would look at addressing a whole sector together, because that is how you're going to get the most back from the platform and also from the tech time of sending your gun away. So, you know, I would look at it as 3 core components. You've got your barrel, hop, you know, as one. 2, you've got your cylinder, piston, tappet plate and all that section, and even the Mosfet that can be included in that whole grouping. And then I would look at the gears and the motor as another grouping. So if you wanted to do it in steps, that would be the steps that I would recommend. So maybe do, you know, the gears and the motor, and then leave all the top standard. If you wanted to do them as a group, I would highly recommend that as well. And then you've got that barrel and hop change. So you could kind of pitch and select. If you are able to just send it away in one hit, get it built out as one, that's how you get the best result, because the guys at CamoRaids are going to send that to you with everything syncing and meshed correctly. Make sure that you send your Tokyo Marui gun off to a specialist. Again, I absolutely highly recommend the guys over at CamoRaids. They have been absolutely impeccable with their service with me and the other people that are around me, and also I've shot so many of the guns that they've built out now, and they've all been phenomenal in their performance. So guys, I highly recommend you checking out the guys over at CamoRaids if you are looking to upgrade one of these platforms. I am absolutely been blown away by this. The performance, just the way that the gun now performs, it's really brought it to life with this upgrade package. Really looking forward to running this out for more events. If you do have any questions about this, if you have any feedback, any comments, please make sure you put them in the comments box below. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you all soon.